Good day, everyone, and welcome to Obidient Family TV. The program is Hope Alive. Yes, there is hope, and the hope we are talking about is a hope of a new Nigeria. Today is May 29th. By this day of last year, we said darkness enveloped Nigeria with the ascension of our Chief Bola Tinubu to the presidency via a combination of dollar gifts to party men who sold their futures for a few forces of cheese, voter intimidation, violence, thuggery, ballot box snatching, ethnocentric voting, and malapoliticking. 1 year on, Chief Bola Tinubu presidential legacy is hallmarked by economic regression, rising insecurity, increased unemployment, voracious taxation, inflation, and poorly thought out policies. And to cap it all, his government has in record time emerged most draconian in Nigerian democratic history. Never has Nigeria witnessed such brazen, baseless, barefaced, shameless harassment, abduction, and detention of journalists. Nigeria is slowly restoring the dark days of the military era. Only this time, this muzzling of the media and state capture is occurring in a pretend democracy shepherded by a man who supposedly fought the military in his heydays. A horrible time to be a Nigerian. Welcome wherever you're watching us. It is a nice day talking to you guys in May 29th. And I will give you the statistics because today there is really confusion. The State of the Nation broadcast and all of that. They keep forcing us all forms of lies, information, false information, even when they said that the social media should be managed and all of that. Now we see a presidency versus the presidency saying that false information is coming out from the presidency, from the same presidency, and nothing is being done about it. But let me tell you that confusion. It has emerged within the Tinubu's presidency regarding Chief Bola Tinubu's scheduled address to the National Assembly. Earlier, Bayo Ononuga, who is the special advisor on information and strategy to Chief Bola Tinubu, announced that Tinubu would address a joint session of the National Assembly on Wednesday, being today, as part of the 25th anniversary of the Nigerian democratic journey. This statement was echoed by a similar announcement from the National Assembly clerk, who is Sani Magaji. Now, however, Ajuri Ngelare, the special advisor to Tinubu on media and publicity, refutes this claim, stating that the information was false and unauthorized. Now, my question is, what are we going to do to him that has come out from the presidency and has said that this very information is false? Talking about Bayo Ononuga. What is going to be done to him? He's a peddler of false information, so to speak, coming out from the presidency. Now, but let's even look at the economic indices. As of today is 29, being the day that is 1 year in office, precisely 1 year that it was declared, in quotes, subsidy is gone. Let's even hear it from him, the way, and that moment that Nigeria was traumatized. Let's listen to Mr. Chief Bola Tinubu.
Of fuel subsidy, unfortunately, the budget that I've glimpsed before I assumed office and what I've heard is that no provision is there for fuel subsidy. The fuel subsidy is gone. Subsidy can no longer justify its ever increasing cost and the wake of dry.
1 year and the subsidy is gone. Let's look at the economic indices. Starting from that very petrol, the PMS, the subsidy is gone. Then, as at the time of this announcement, we have a 238.11 per liter that is being sold. Now it is up to 1,000 naira per liter. Now, let's look at the food inflation rate. As at that time, when this very when he says subsidy is gone, we have a 24.82% food inflation rate. Now, the inflation is on 40.54% increase. That is what we're having. Then next, let's look at the exchange rate. As at that time he made that pronouncement, we have about 461 naira for $1. As at now, we are looking at about 1,700 to $1. Now, that is on the increase at least about 1,300% increase. Now, look at the diesel pricing. Then, diesel pricing was at 844 naira per liter. Now, we have about 1,500 to 1,700 per liter. That is above 70% increase. We can talk more and more. This very inflation rate that is happening, as at that time, inflation rate was at 22.41%. Now, inflation rate is at about 33.69%. That is about 31% increase. Then, if we talk about the public debt, we have, as at that time, 87.38 trillion. Now we have over 99 trillion. This is over 20% increase on the debt profile of Nigeria. Now we can talk about the hopelessness that Nigerians has seen in the last 1 year. The hope that they gave. And also, we will also look at the manifesto that Chief Bola Tinubu sold to Nigerians. For the people who were actually listening, for people who were peddling all of this, let's look at that very particular things that is actually involved with this very 1 year. Let's look at it from the people of this thing. We have a Mohammed, a civil servant at the Ministry of Agriculture, almost lost his temper after buying 25 pieces of pepper for 1,000 naira. After the seller refused to sell for 500 tomato to him. This is happening everywhere. Dona, who sells automotive spare parts in Gudu Market, Abuja, has been frustrated by exchange rate depreciation. The importer has struggled with his spare parts business since the naira fell to over 1,700 per dollar in February of 2024. These testimonies explain how the renewed hope, the monetary policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria has failed to bring down inflation and stabilize the naira despite several policy initiatives by Chief Bola Tinubu. Chief Bola Tinubu-led administration inherited a central bank that applied an orthodox monetary policy approach in the discharge of its mandate. His renewed hope manifesto, released months before the 2023 presidential election, Tinubu told his supporters, that monetary policy must focus on the exchange rates, interest rates, and price levels. For him, the throne must serve the objective of fiscal policy, which is broadly shared prosperity. According to him, he promised to stabilize exchange rates and deal with inflation in order to undo the mistake of the past Buhari's administration. Tinubu, in his renewed hope agenda, highlighted some of the issues leading to the depreciation of the naira, including low crude oil production, the multiple exchange rate windows which gave rise to financial dislocation, currency speculation, arbitration. Let me even quote from that very manifesto. He said, to ensure that exchange rate policy harmonizes with our goal of optimal growth and job creation, driven by industrial, agricultural, and infrastructural expansion, we will work with the central bank and the financial sector to carefully review and better optimize the exchange rate regime. Our economic policy shall be guided by our desire for a strong, more stable naira founded upon a vibrant and productive real economy. That is what part of his manifesto read. Now, let's look at on tackling inflationary pressure. Tinubu said his team will assess the resources and cost of inflation and deploy the right mix of fiscal and monetary policy tools to contain it. Instead of copying the policies and practices of economies from other countries, the manifesto read, and I quote, "To impose the usual anti-inflation medicine of higher interest rates and tight money supply will only weaken the pattern. The answer to supply-driven inflation is not to suppress normal aggregate demand levels. The better solution is to find ways to increase production and supply. To suppress demand will result in overall loss of economic activity and jobs." This is what they said. And let me even give you more. He said, worse is since the inflation is grounded in supply side issues, placing this weight on the demand side will do little to answer the root cause of current inflation. In short, we punish the national economy and the people without deriving any meaningful benefits. Now, that is part of this thing. Now, so many things, and all of this happens to be grammar that he just keep on, what he put in that people were thinking that is what he's going to do. But at the end of the day, that's not what we're seeing. We are seeing economic hardship. We are seeing rising inflation. We are seeing rising insecurity in Nigeria. Now, 2 weeks after the administration took office, the CBN on the 14th introduced the willing buyer, willing seller model, harmonized the different foreign exchange market into the Nigerian foreign exchange market window. Before the CBN took the decision, the Naira was trading at an average of 460 Naira in May. The currency moved to 589 on June 24th, 770 in July, and then 787 in November of 2023. Now, as of May 24, 2024, the black market rate is at least 1,500 against what is traded officially 1,481. Inflation has constantly risen since the government assumed office in May last year. The National Bureau of Statistics measured inflation at 24.41% in May of 2023, but surged to 33.6% as at April of 2024. The Olaye Mikado-led CBN has consistently increased the monetary policy rates to combat inflation. Now, the administration made their MPR at 18.5%, but the CBN increased it to 22.75% in July 25th. At the meeting of the Monetary Policy Committee in July of 2024, the bank further raised their MPR to 22.75%, adjusting the numeric corridor to about 700 basis points around the MPR. Now, in March, the monetary policy regulation was raised to 24.75%, and in May, the bank also hiked the rate to 26.25%. This is coming and not helping the nation in any way. This approach is in contrast with the manifesto that condemns increasing interest rates and tighten monetary supply as a usual inflation medicine. In quote, that is what in Chief Bola Tinubu's manifesto. What are Nigerians facing right now? What trauma? Every Nigerian are traumatized. Whether you are a medical doctor, there is no medicine. Whether you are a trader, where are you going to buy the dollars to import? Whether you are going to the market to buy tomatoes like the person who went to the market that I started, where are you going to get that from? How much is a bag of rice or cement? Which 1 year are they celebrating? Which project are they talking about what is actually happening in Nigeria? Well, these are the questions that we need to ask ourselves, while confusion reigns in the midst of those people who are broadcasting whether Tinubu is going to address the joint session of the National Assembly, or he's going to address the nation in his Aso Rock Villa, or he's going to go across the nation to commission projects. That does not put anything like food in the table of any family in Nigeria. We need to face facts. Chief Bola Tinubu has failed. And this time around, not just failing, but has failed woefully. What are we to do? What we are to do is to buckle up. Let's continue to do what? focus on those things that they have said they are going to do, like the interventions they are going to provide. I recall saying so many times about their intervention on food security. Have we seen where tractors are brought on for farmers to farm? Have there been an intervention on what is happening in Niger State? Every day we see what bandits are doing, sacking farmers from their lands. What is being done to protect farmers from their lands? Farmers in Benue State, farmers in Niger State, and all of that. How are we pushing the government to do the right things? Farmers need tractors. Look at what is happening in Senegal. Senegalese president at least ordered so much, more than 400 tractors for them to run, and you can imagine the population of that. But now let's look at it that we are entering into a famine, and yet the presidency, they are busy talking about announcement of the fake news or flip-flops and all of that. That is not what Nigerians are looking up to. Today is May 29. Completely. The Wole Soyinka that said he's going to talk on 1 year. Let's hear him again today. So much distractions. Look at what is happening in Kanu. Distractions. Sanusi reinstated. Sanusi is asked by court to vacate. All those happening in a time when Nigerian masses are seriously suffering. No food for anybody or the families to deal with. Food stamps are not anywhere. Let's reminisce. Let's have another thing. May 29, the day of that proclamation. That what? That is gone. That was the beginning of Nigerian or the Tinubu's administration's failures. What they never planned for started happening. Let's continue to watch. Let's see what is going to happen today. Whether it's addressed to the nations or whether it's going to the joint assembly. Of course, as you all know, Senator Ningi has already been recalled by the Senate. Everything is just about they do whatever they think is right, not what is right for the masses, not what is right for Nigerians. They talk about a new national anthem. New national anthem is what they are now thinking about. Reverting back to the old national anthem. Does that put food in the table of an average Nigerians? Let's focus. Let's look at our rural areas and what needs to be done. My name is Chidi Kanu from the Obidient Family TV. Until later this evening, when we do the Obidient Family Consolidated, the Obidient Family Cooperative Societies reports, I'll be back again to give you reports of obedience engaging themselves in business of mutual benefit across the nation. As you know right now, Obedient Family Cooperative Societies have been structured at least about 300 local governments across Nigeria out of the 704 local governments. Join Obedience wherever they are. Let's continue to see how we can on to this very hopelessness happening in Nigeria to create hope for the obedience. Until this evening, bye for now.